So I'm thinking of getting a subscription to Puzzmo.
My doctor has said I have to do one every day.
But also I think my psychiatrist actually would think this is good for me as well, so...
I'm Emmy.
I'm Annie.
And this week we're going to talk about a grab bag of games that we've been playing.
This will be a new format that we're trying going forward for episodes where it's just a more casual discussion of stuff that we've been playing lately, and also maybe reading and watching as well. We really like doing our in-depths on a single game, and we're definitely going to do that going forward, just a little more infrequently. And please let us know if you have any feedback on this, but partly we wanted to switch things up because we found that sometimes people or our friends would want to listen to episodes, but then they would be super interested in the game we were discussing, and then they would say, oh, I don't want all the spoilers, I want to wait until I've played it so that I can listen to your episode. And we don't want to prevent people from playing the games or prevent people from listening to us just because they haven't played the game already. So we're trying to figure out like a happy medium. So, well, this will be a less spoiler-heavy discussion of stuff, or we'll mark spoilers more when we talk about them for specific games. But in any case, we'll do our in-depths going forward. We just also want to make sure that our episodes are more accessible for listeners too.
Yes, and this also helps us, I think, get episodes out a little bit more reliably and not have to, no promises, but not have to take big breaks in between chunks of episodes, because doing the in-depth episodes just takes a little bit longer to make sure we've played the full game or enough of a game that we can have a real conversation about it. And sometimes, like with Blueprints, that takes a lot longer than we expect. And just I think the editing burden of it is a little bit higher to make sure everything makes sense and everything is explained so that people who haven't played the game can follow it. So this will also hopefully help us keep going on a more regular schedule as well.
So, Emmy, what have you been playing lately?
I have been playing a couple things. I've been playing Sol Cesto, which I think maybe I saw when it came to early access, and I thought the visual style of it is super cool. And I still think that the visual style of it is super cool. So Sol Cesto is a roguelite game. It's a run-based game. You are exploring a dungeon, essentially. Seems like you're kind of going down a hole. The main mechanic is that it's chance-based. So you have a 4x4 grid, and each cell of the grid has a % chance that you will land on it. So the way you navigate between those rows is you select one. Each row and each cell has an enemy or a trap, a chest of gold, or a strawberry, which restores your health. So you start with 25% chance for each, because there's 4 cells in a row, and you can gather power-ups during the run, which are teeth in this case that you pull from a statue, and those power-ups change the percentage chance of landing on, like for example, a health space that recovers. You could have an increased chance to land on strawberry spaces to recover your health, and alongside that there will be a more negative thing. So I could have plus 25% chance to go to strawberries, but also plus 9% attraction to all monsters. There's magic and there's strength monsters. You have a strength stat and a magic stat, so you might want to go towards more like a strength build if you have a higher percentage towards strength monsters, or, choose your kind of build that way. I think it is a really fun game loop. I was really into it the first 3 hours I played of it. I am, however, kind of souring on it, unfortunately.
Oh.
Maybe souring is too strong of a word because I'm still playing it, but I feel like I'm not progressing in it, even though, because it's a roguelite, you can have permanent upgrades, so you can, as you earn coins throughout your run, different, I think on the 5th floor and the 15th floor or something, you have a chance to dump all your coins in a pot and pull a handle, and it pulls the pot up a well, so you have that for the next runs, and then you can use that money to purchase upgrades, like increasing the number of teeth available of like upgrades or unlocking new characters that have different base stats. And I'm unlocking a lot of upgrades, but I feel like those upgrades are not enabling me to get further. I kind of like got as far as I've gotten within a couple of runs using one character, and I've not found that the new character I've unlocked, the warrior, is doing much for me, even though I've also unlocked upgrades for her. So it's a little bit frustrating because I feel like I'm doing all this upgrading but then not seeing it really change my runs that much. I'm earning more money, but I'm just not getting further, and the runs are long enough that it feels a little bit grindy in a way that I'm not enjoying as much, even though I do like grinding sometimes, because there's just not that much variety in the enemies. Like, I think there is overall, but when you're doing it again and again and feeling like you're not seeing new ones because you're not getting further, it just gets a little repetitive, which is really bumming me out because I was really enjoying it at first. And maybe I'll get to a point where all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I finally got this upgrade and it's letting me go further, and I'll be like right back into it. But for now, I'm like a little bummed because I was really excited about it, and now I'm feeling like it's a little frustrating.
Have you looked up any strategy stuff? Like, do you think there's something that you missed that is the thing that will push you forward that maybe somebody else knows about?
That was the other thought I had, is like, this might be a me issue and I'm bad at the game and I'm not being careful enough with like using my power. So each of the different characters has a special movement power. So for example, the knight, after like 4 actions, has a power where you can move based on the column one time. So sometimes a column might line up where you have like all chests or something, and you might be like, I definitely want to go towards this. This column is safer than any of the rows. And so I might need to be using those powers a little bit more or more thoughtfully. But I haven't really wanted to look up strategies because I'm not that far into the game and I kind of want to figure it out myself. But you're right that maybe now that I'm getting a little frustrated, it might be a good time to look up strategies.
Yeah, just so you don't ruin the enjoyment of it, because it does sound really cool. Is there also a story to this?
Yes, in that there is kind of this overarching mystery of the sun has disappeared and you're going through this dungeon or cave. So I think there's like lore, I would say, without it being a specific narrative. It's more about uncovering like, where does this cave go? Why has the sun disappeared?
Where'd the sun go?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's Sol Cesto for me.
Gotcha. What about the other games then that you've been playing?
Yeah, the other games have not been indie games for the most part. I'm still playing some Infinity Nikki. I won't go too deep into it.
I mean, you can if you like.
It's our grab bag, which means it's an Infinity Nikki episode. No, I also just haven't been playing that much of it recently. Update 2.5 came out, which means that they like added a whole new area and like a lot of new quests. And I think that this approach they've taken for this update has been really good, because the first year was a little bit challenging because they didn't add any new, or they added like small new areas, but it felt very much like you're just in the same world. And instead they split the new area that they added, like the new map, into 2 releases, and there was like plenty to do in the first half of it. So I think this is like a little bit more sustainable, but I'm also kind of overwhelmed because there is a lot to do, and I don't feel like I unless it was like my only thing I played, and it could be, I don't know that I'm going to be able to get through all of the content that is being provided to me, which is nice. And
that is nice,
really
but also,
sick.
Can you not get through it all because you don't have time, or is it because it doesn't provide you with enough of the like premium currency to do it without having to pay more to do it?
No, it's just because I don't have time. I would say that actually Infinity Nikki does a pretty good job of, if you are really resistant to being manipulated into spending money on cosmetics, you don't need to spend any money to enjoy the game. Like, there's nothing that is blocked based on spending money. It's all about like whether or not you want these like premium outfits, and those outfits might have really like convenient skills sometimes, but a lot of times none of them are things you need to, like, progress or to, like, succeed, which I think is pretty nice.
Okay. Lowering my... You know that screenshot of, like, an anime girl, like, holding a rock, and then she's like, oh, never mind, and she, like, drops the rock. That's me right now. I've dropped my rock.
Like,
okay. All right.
Under no circumstances do you have to hand it to Infinity Nikki, but in this case it is not as scammy as it could be, for sure.
So there's Infinity Nikki. What else is in the mix?
The other thing I've been playing to is Astrobot. Or playing to. I've been returning to playing Astrobot.
I've only played a little of Astrobot.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew this or if people knew this. Astrobot is a really good game.
God, really? I never knew.
Game of the Year winner Astrobot is a really good game. Yeah, I loved Astro's Playroom, and I had played like a full, like probably a fifth of Astrobot when I got it. And I just like, I don't know, got distracted by something else. But yeah, I've been back in Astrobot. It's really good. It's really charming. I wish that I knew, I grew up not having PlayStations. We mostly were like Nintendo consoles, and my brother had an Xbox, so I just like watched him play Halo, I guess. So I really don't know a lot of PlayStation history, and so sometimes I'm a little sad that I don't know it better, because there are so many like little robots that are different characters from PlayStation games over the years.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the ones that I'm really familiar with I found extremely charming. Like, they have a whole like God of War like kind of boss world, and where you get like multiple little characters from God of War, and they have a gacha machine in it that you use your in-game currency for. That just is a little like a literal gachapon machine where you have capsules, and each one of the capsules is either like an outfit that you can wear or is a like accessory or furniture for one of the robots that you've rescued.
Cute.
So like in the world where you are returning to, where all the bots are, where you've saved all the bots, they like are all milling about, and when you get a new thing, it'll be like, oh, they have a couch now, or like the, I don't know, one of the like vampire ones, it's like, oh, he has a coffin to sleep in now. So yeah, I like have really appreciated the Persona characters and the accessories related to them. I've like really been charmed by the detail of it, so it's made me a little bit sad that I don't know that many franchises.
Are there any that you recognize, do you think I would know? Because now, again, I've only played a little of Astrobot, but now I'm like, oh, do they have like Sly Cooper robots? Because that's a pretty big like Sony property that I loved as a kid that I would like to see. Maybe some Crash Bandicoot too, but I think that was cross-platform.
No, I think Crash Bandicoot is in it. Also probably like Ratchet and Clank. They have one of the other like big like finishing worlds is Uncharted, where like, and also you get for our audience in Astrobot and in Astro's Playroom, you get different abilities depending on the world. Sometimes they repeat, where like you'll have some attachment that will turn you into like, you have big fists that can like reach far and you can punch really hard, or you can like turn into a monkey and you can climb up the wall. And on these like boss worlds that are inspired by different franchises, you get abilities related to that. So in the God of War one, you have a shockingly similar axe mechanic where it like it feels like the way it feels throwing the axe in the recent God of War games. And in the Uncharted one, you have a gun that like shoots little balls.
I was gonna say, I feel like the little bot should not have a gun, like a Nathan Drake pistol, but it sounds like they switched it up a little bit.
Yeah, they've made it a little bit more like family friendly. I have also heard that like people's kids fucking love Astrobot. The children love Astrobot, and playing through it, I'm like, of course they do. Like, it's not that hard, but there are like extra challenging worlds you can get. There's a lot to discover, but you don't have to discover everything to have a fun time with it. And everything you interact with is very charming, and like, so it feels very exploratory, even though it's a platformer, and it's very cute. So
it's everything a kid could want. I mean, you just said that you feel like you wish you knew more of the references. So is there anything that takes away from the game the fact that it's so based on other things? It almost feels like an ad for Sony.
It does. Like, However, I will say it's so charming and the gameplay is so good that I can forgive that. If it wasn't like such a competent platformer, I would be like annoyed by it. But because the platforming is so good, it really just feels like, even if you don't know any of these characters, they're not the main enjoyment of the game. The main enjoyment of the game is what a good platformer it is, and how charming it is. And then getting these references is just kind of a bonus to me. Although it's working on me, because I'm like, I want to know more about Sony games.
I mean, I guess it's also, it's not just like aesthetic references, though. It's even the game mechanics are cribbed from other games. Right? Like you said, the axe throwing is very similar to the axe throwing in God of War.
Yes, but that's only specific areas. Like, it'll be like, oh, you've done the, like, 6 levels of this, like, overworld, that of which there are, like, 6 as well. And then the last one is, like, inspired by a given game. But, like, not all of the abilities. I would say the majority of the abilities are not pulled from other games.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Color Me is skeptical, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know you're like, oh, but it doesn't impede my enjoyment of the game. And I'm like, I think it could impede mine.
Yeah,
I think I would let it.
Certainly, I could see, I mean, my mom's this way, where, like, as a child, I was not allowed to have any clothing featuring a character from a brand, because my mom was like, I'm not buying clothing so they can advertise on my child's body. Like, she was like, you may not have a, like, Hello Kitty backpack because, like, you are not in a billboard.
I'm such a hypocrite because I was just saying this stuff, but I disagree with that. That part's not necessarily being a billboard. The problem with the character is that it does that thing in 2 ways. A kid likes the character, but then you also, through having the character at all advertise for the character. So then what did you wear?
I wore plain colored t-shirts from Target.
Gotcha. I wore a lot of Children's Place matched sets when I was a kid.
Cute.
Which I guess also didn't feature any branding whatsoever. But that was more because I was so picky and difficult to please that my parents gave up buying me things that weren't plain that I specifically said I would wear.
Yeah, even like Disney princess stuff, my mom was like, eh. So I do get it. And it's also possible that someone who has absolutely no familiarity with these franchises would be like, I don't get it. But I do actually just think the platforming is just so good. It feels so good. And because it is this game designed to feature all of the abilities of the PS5, it makes really good use of things like the triggers on the back that have, like, give you a little bit of pushback. Games really rarely use that because, like, especially if they're not Sony exclusives. And so it's really nice the way they use, like, haptics, the triggers, the controller sound, all work really well together and make it a really engaging game.
Cool. Are you close to beating it?
I'm probably like halfway through at this point.
Gotcha.
The other thing, I've not really been playing anything else, but something that has been coming to my mind, perhaps because I've been playing Astrobot and the marketing is working on me, is I'm like, is it time for me to play Metaphor Refantasio?
Oh, I mean, sure. It looks really good, so why not?
I just, like, for a while, I was a little burnt out because I love Persona 5. I played, like, 300 plus hours of Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal. And then I went back to Persona 3 and Persona 4. Did not actually finish either one. And then Persona 3 Reloaded came out, and I tried to play that and realized I was burnt out on the Persona games. And then Metaphor Refantasio came out, and I was like, I don't think I'm ready yet, but I think I might be ready now.
What made you come to this decision that you're ready now?
I think it's less a decision and more a feeling that I'm starting to explore.
Okay. A tingle that started in your toes.
Yeah. So I'm processing the way it's been entering my head lately. I think it's also been like, it's been about a year since Blueprints, according to my journal. And I'm like, that was great when I was like really deep into that game. Like, what if I got really deep into another game?
You're looking for something to sell your soul to. You're considering if there are any buyers.
Yes.
Metaphor Refantasio looks like it's going to do the trick. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
I met Atlas at a crossroads.
Is that the premise of this one? I actually don't know the premise. I just know that it's Persona, but fantasy themed.
Yeah, that's basically what I know about it.
I'm excited for you whenever that happens. I will not be following you on
Thank you.
that journey at this time.
That's fair.
You'll be going where I can't follow.
Well, where have you been going? Where perhaps I can follow? What have you been playing?
Where have I been? Main thing I've been playing that's pretty new, it's been out for about a month now, is Titanium Court. Which, do you know anything about it other than that it's popular at the moment?
Yes, I have actually heard a lot about it.
Okay, so, I mean, for those who don't know, I'll just describe it as a roguelite match 3 game, because it's pretty much what the play style is. The premise is that you, the player, are finding yourself in this magical fairy court. Everyone there claims that you're the fairy queen, and since you're the fairy queen, it's your job to take the court to war. And you're insisting, I'm not the fairy queen, I'm a normal person. But you can't leave the castle until you regain a bunch of the keys that you lost when you got to the castle. And the only way to do that is to go to war. So you go to war. War is the match 3 bits. And you originally have only one power as the fairy court to move through the match 3 levels. But as you go through more levels, you gain different power-ups and different jobs, they're called job classes, that you can reclassify the court as to move through the match 3 levels differently. And I, on a gameplay level, I'm having a lot of fun with all of the different types of war you can do. Like, there's the match 3, which sets up the stage of war that you can go into, like you're setting up the battlefield. And then there's an auto battle section after you've set up the battlefield, so there are different soldiers that you can summon, there are different strategies you can use where you don't even need soldiers at all, so there are defensive victories, or, I hesitate, the game has a different name for them, but there's like offensive and defensive victories, and then a third category of victory that is always just like something sillier or more unexpected, and so I enjoy finding those too. And then on a story and character and dialogue level, I find it really enchanting and funny and incisive because there's also a lot of satire involved. Like, the fairy court and the people in it don't understand a lot about being immortal because they are immortal themselves. So even when you go to war, everything resets because fairies are immortal. But at the end of the day, when you can reset the court, you can also ask questions of your advisor, Puck, and he has to be honest for once because most of the time he avoids you. So you can uncover more about how you got to the court, what the nature of the court actually is, who your enemy is, all of this stuff. You can start lifting curses that apparently the court is afflicted with. And there's probably the most affecting bit of it for me is at the beginning of every day, you can take a shower. You can take a hot shower, and in the shower you think.
Wow, it's just like your real life.
It's just like me. Fairy Queen is just like me for real. It is also a match 3, and then whenever you match some thought bubbles, you have a thought, and sometimes it's about how to do the game. Like, there's sometimes like gameplay strategies that it throws at you as you like idly wash your hair in the shower. Other times you're thinking about how you got to the court and your life before the court, stuff like that. I'm at the point where you only need 4 keys to leave the court. I'm at the point where I have 4 keys, but I'm too afraid to unlock the doors because I want to know more. There's so much I still haven't done, so many curses that I haven't uncovered. And I also know, I think it was Rebecca Valentine wrote an essay/review about the game where she said she was totally obsessed with it, beat the game, and now never wants to play it again. And I'm so afraid that the ending is so audaciously meta that it's insulting, and that I'm going to get there and be just as angry. So I will get to the ending eventually, but I want to uncover everything that I can within it to make sure that I've gotten my full enjoyment out of it before I then probably get really mad as well.
Okay.
So where have you been hearing? I know Robin and Willa talked quite a bit about Titanium Port in an episode of theirs, so is that why you know a lot about it already?
Yeah.
That's the main thing? Okay.
Yep.
I have specifically not listened to their episode about it, because again,
I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, I don't want to know, I don't want my experience to be colored at the moment by outside opinions, because I am having a good time. There's also a lot in there that's, like, about the stage, and there's Midsummer Night's Dream references, and somehow the idea that, like, all the characters are putting on a show for you, or you're part of a show. And I have the feeling I'm going to get a little irritated with that, like, meta treatment of a game as performance for the player. But also there are a lot of games that I like that have talked about that, or had that as a huge part of the gameplay, like the Bravely Default series, for example. So maybe I'm game for it. I don't know. There's also a part of the game that I wanted to highlight, which is sometimes you get to a boss at the end of the war level, and it gives you the opportunity to, instead of fighting the boss, listen to a song instead. Did Robin and Willa talk about that in their episode at all?
No, I don't think so. I also did not hear anything about how there's also a match 3 mechanic while you shower, and I think that was a really important detail they left out.
Yeah, your match 3, almost anything you can do is like, let's make this match 3.
Nice.
In any case, and I love a match 3. I'm a bejeweled sicko, so that was really exciting for me. Yeah, so you can, instead of fighting a boss, you can choose to listen to a song sometimes instead.
Oh, sorry, they did talk about this. I don't want them to come for me and be like, you weren't listening carefully enough. I'm sorry.
Okay, so they
did say this, but continue.
So the first time I chose that, I didn't know what to expect, and I mostly chose it because I was really thinking I was going to lose to that boss anyway, so it was kind of a nice out to get to the next day. And then AP Thompson, the solo dev of the game, shows up on screen to sing you a song. Like, that is what's happening. And he's like if the Mountain Goats were bad, I think. Like, I did not... Sorry to be... Oh my god. Good. You're wheezing.
Yeah, no, it took me off guard. I know what you mean, though, now that you've said that.
I really didn't enjoy his music. I mean, I enjoyed that it was kind of silly, like the subjects of them, but I was like, for the first song I listened to, I decided I would listen to the whole thing out of respect. And then I was like, as much as I love the soundtrack otherwise, I've been listening to the soundtrack at work, like, for the past week or so, because it is a really catchy soundtrack otherwise. Those songs, though, I don't want to hear them again. Several times I have been given the option to hear the song or fight the boss, and then I just fight the boss anyway, because I don't want to listen to that right now. I am curious, though, how many songs are in AP Thompson's repertoire for this. So I did, once again, choose a different song. I forget what the first one was about. The second one was a shout-out to all types of animals that only reach adulthood to frantically fuck and then die. So, like, butterflies, for example. Which is a touching subject, IMO. However, again, song, bad. So I took off my headphones and put them on my desk and went and did something else for like 4 minutes. And when I came back, the song was over, and then I continued with the game. So I'm glad I get the choice anyway to not listen, because I don't think I'll listen to future songs much more. Unless it unlocks some whole new ending and I'm forced to sit through it to get the lore.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm interested, though, I think when you finish it, we should come back and talk about it again. I want to hear an update with your thoughts on it.
I will keep you updated. I have also, there's a part of me that's wanted to really recommend it to people, but I know that there's this looming ending situation, and I'm like, how much should so I have recommended it to people with that caveat. Like, I've told them straight up, I've heard that this might make people mad. I'm more likely to be mad than you are, knowing my own sensitivities. So maybe you'll still enjoy this entire thing anyway. But yeah, I think it's really funny. And it's also pixel art with like a distinctive color palette of like pink, cyan, yellow, and navy blue. And I've enjoyed that too. And what I also really like, and what I think you'll probably like the most if you do ever get around to playing, is whenever it says the word magic or something magical, it turns into like a wavy letters with like, has like a rainbow of all of the color palette in it. And then when it's talking about a curse or something cursed, it goes, woo, wavy, but a scary sound effect plays. And it's not rainbow, it's like a pale, sickly yellow. So that's nice. Just very aesthetically pleasing.
How do you feel about the dialogue in it?
I enjoy it. And I mentioned that to Robin, and then Robin was like, I hate it. So I assume that's why you were bringing it up. I enjoy the dialogue and the sense of humor quite a bit.
Yeah, because based on what Robin said, I was like, I could see myself being really annoyed by this. And also at the same time, it could be fine and it doesn't really bother me. So I was just curious from your perspective.
Yeah, unfortunately, sorry to friend of the pod, Robin, I find the dialogue very, very charming and, to use your word, and entertaining, and it's most of the humor is predicated on fairies not understanding human concepts, which stretch to, like, very comical means. Like, for example, to them, cars are mythical beasts, and they're always treating the main character as, like, it's so cute that you think cars are real. We'll play along. So, but unfortunately, cars actually do come up quite often because sometimes, like, road signs will appear on the battlefield. And a road sign, like, for example, a no U-turns sign will come up. And all of the fairies will say, whoa, a powerful sign of powerful magic. It means you can't turn back. And the fairy queen will try to explain, no, that's for when you're on the road and a car just can't make a U-turn. And they're like, ha ha ha, what a funny joke, fairy queen. Nope, this is what's happening. And then it actually does affect your gameplay. Like, there are parts of the gameplay where you can undo certain things, but once that sign appears, you can't undo for the rest of that turn. So, yes, again, it could be tiresome for some, but not for me.
Can I just point out that the fairies are, like, just like the warrior cats?
Oh my god. Really? Please tell me more. I was never a warrior cats person.
Shocking. I know this, and it's still shocking every time that you weren't a warrior cats person. Warrior cats refer to... The cars are just called monsters, and they travel the thunder path.
The thunder path.
And
Sure.
Because I was a child when I read it, it took me a while to put together, like, oh... Because everyone in it is a cat. No one's like, no one's the fairy queen being like, these are just cars and that's a road. But, so they talk about, like, the danger of the monsters and the fear of crossing the thunder path and how treacherous it is. And then eventually, as, like, a 9-year-old, I was like, oh shit, it's cars.
Nice. How many books in was that, do you think? Because there's, like, 15
I think
right?
I don't know how long it took me to put together. But they refer to it in the very first book.
Gotcha.
So
I have sometimes wondered why I wasn't, like, a Thundercats kid, and I think partly the books just didn't appeal to me, especially because I didn't grow up with a cat as a pet, so I just, like, wasn't a cat person yet. But also, and this is such hypocrisy, but I just know this is what I was thinking at the time, I thought they were really cringe. I was like, I'm a nerd, but not that kind of nerd.
Wow. Maybe you were introduced to them later, because I think I started reading when I was, like, 7 or 8.
Oh, okay. So maybe it was that as well.
And I had friends at school who were also into it, and we, like, played it on the playground. I remember being in 4th grade, and I had been kind of a fan for a while, because I remember my mom took me to an author signing for it, and I was able to, like, miss a little bit of school to get to go.
Very special.
And I was, like, excitingly recounting it to some people on the playground, and this one girl was like, okay, we get it, stop bragging. And I remember it being, like, the first time in my life where I was like, I didn't think, like, oh no, like, I didn't think I was bragging at all, and, like, it came out of left field that, like, what I was doing wasn't lined up with how someone else was interpreting it.
Oh god.
So that's how I know that I was reading Warrior Cats in 4th grade.
Yes, that all makes sense. I'm sorry that you got told off for bragging, but the fact that it was also something that really did come off as a brag is really crazy to me, a person who was, like, a nerd, a huge nerd, who was like, that's kind of embarrassing, actually.
Well, because everyone else also, we played Warrior Cats together on the playground.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. My equivalent was when the last Percy Jackson book came out. Me and my friends got to go to a signing for Rick Riordan. And that little bitch lied to us about how good the movie was looking, by the way. Rick got on stage and said I was on set and everything looked so cool. And so we went and saw the movies. They were bad. And even he years later said, yeah, they were bad. So thanks, Rick. Go ahead. You look like you have something to say.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that you were like, Warrior Cat's too nerdy for me. And when the Percy Jackson books were popular and like my friends were reading them, I was like, that's for children. I'm too old for this.
How old were you when they were popular for you? I grew up with them a little bit, if that makes sense.
Maybe 6th grade. Mm-hmm. So like I think if I had come to them earlier, I would have really liked them probably. But I remember being like, it feels a little young for my tastes as a mature 6th grader.
What were you reading as a mature 6th grader then?
Probably Naruto.
a little young for your tastes.
Or Bleach.
Or Bleach, of course. Which had violence in them. Real violence.
Yes.
As for other things I'm playing, I actually have a fun thing to send you, because I don't know if you know about these. Are you familiar with a website called Puzzmo?
Does it have, like, crosswords and, like, basically so you don't have to use the New York Times Games app?
So, yes, but also it has its own things and a subscription, so it's not an alternative to the New York Times Games app so much as it has its own stuff going on now. And maybe that is what they meant to do originally. I don't know much about the founding, though I do like the idea of uncoupling the New York Times Games from its news vertical that it doesn't seem to care as much about anymore. The reason I found out about it this week, because I didn't know about it before, is that they have a new game called Ribbit that I was really enjoying.
I think also I haven't heard, like, necessarily that it specifically is supposed to be an alternative, but more people that I know who, like, are also into puzzles and stuff have been like, oh, like, I've gotten more into, like, Puzzmo, and that fills this role for me now.
Cool. So, yeah, take a look at Ribbit as well. I think you'll like Ribbit in particular because it has a frog aspect, where when you manage to get rid of when you get rid of one of the letters in this, like, anagram puzzle, a frog will appear on the board until the game is just frogs, no more letters. That's when you know you've succeeded. So I'm thinking of getting a subscription to Puzzmo.
My doctor has said I have to do one every day.
But also I think my psychiatrist actually would think this is good for me as well, so
yeah.
Prescription to... I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm really into playing at the moment, but otherwise it's just kind of finishing up Pokopia, which I know is not an indie game, but I finished the story a while ago, and now I'm just kind of very slowly fixing up some houses and building myself a McMansion, and after my McMansion, I'm hoping to build a creepy doll museum for all the dolls in the game, and I'm going to move a lot of the ghost-type Pokemon in there, and after that, I'm not feeling... Thank you. It's because I have all these extra dolls that I've dug up over time when I'm getting treasures and things, and maybe I'll put in some fossils too, just, for more creepy vibes, get the bones around. But other than that, I think I'm feeling pretty done with Pokopia, which is good for me, because a friend of mine got really excited that there is a new Splatoon game coming out this summer, but he doesn't have a Switch 2, and it's a Switch 2 exclusive. Luckily for me, that same friend does own a PS4, which is a Bloodborne machine. So this summer, I'm going to trade my Switch 2 away for a limited amount of time so that he can play the new Splatoon game while I get the PS4, aka the Bloodborne machine. And I'm going to use it to play, you guessed it, Bloodborne. That's the plan.
Is there anything else you're planning on playing on the PS4 when you have it?
No. I mean, everything else is not exclusive to it. That I want to play, I could play on something else. That's the only reason that the Bloodborne one is in particular appealing to me.
I think I didn't even, because I just don't play any of the Dark Souls games, I think I didn't realize that Bloodborne was exclusive to the PlayStation.
Well, yeah, and not just the PlayStation, but PlayStation 4. Like, there has not been a remake of it or an HD version. It's like, there hasn't been a PC port at all. And apparently, like, the company is not super happy with how the Demon Souls remake went or something. So there aren't currently, that we know of, plans to port it in another way. So it's actually difficult to play. I'm sure there's some fan project to try to port it to PC. I haven't looked into emulation. And again, that's illegal and bad. So don't do that. But in any case, I'll have a Bloodborne machine available to me, so that's what I will play. Maybe I'll try Death Stranding as well, because I own a copy of Death Stranding, despite never having owned a PS4. So maybe
I couldn't be less interested in Death Stranding myself.
The only reason for me I would play it is because a childhood friend of mine was really into all of Hideo Kojima's games. And so it's for his sake that I would try it out. But I promise you I would not take it up on my own without that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, what about other than games? We can touch briefly on things you've been reading, watching, that you think are also very interesting lately. Any crafts that have been sparking joy for you?
No crafts. No crafts really, besides maybe you could consider this podcast a craft in a way. I have been as I have been since I started my PhD, only read romance. So I am caught up now on my Immortals After Dark series, which means I have read all 22 books.
Some of them multiple times.
Yes, so because I'm unwell, had a habit of I think I read through the whole series once, or I started in the middle of the series, started from the beginning, read through it once up to before Monroe, which is the 18th book, maybe, which took a while to come out, but it was out when I came upon the series, because I was waiting to catch up on a podcast that had been reading through them, and I wanted to listen to the Monroe episode, but then I never found the Monroe episode. I don't know that they've talked about it or any of her other books, because they kind of transitioned into more broad romance. So I was waiting on it, and then I was like, well, I guess I'll restart reading them again. Then I'll go through. I don't know why I felt the need to do that, but I was like, it's been too long. I need to restart the whole series. So I like the books a lot, and I'm really fond of them, and I'm now caught up on them, and I am happy about that, and also sad that I don't have any more in the docket. And then I've been reading a bunch of hockey romances that are not very good, but I like them.
Nice. I can't believe you're caught up. It's been years. Years of this endeavor.
Yeah, this is a recent achievement. No one come for me if you read the first couple, probably most of them, and you're like, this is really problematic, Emmi. There's a lot of consent, questions. I know.
The problematic aspects, just give it that little bit of the je ne sais quoi, of het romance.
Gives it some zhuzh.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for in a paranormal romance. Haven't really been watching anything. We watched The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which was fun. It was still kind of... I know I just talked about, a pretty graphic series of romance novels, but Night of the Seven Kingdoms was kind of graphic for me, and the violence, which is sort of what you expect from a Game of Thrones spin-off. So I enjoyed it, except for the later episodes where there was some really graphic violence that was a little much for me.
Gotcha. I'm always reading something. This time I'm just reading some Stephen Millhauser, who is a writer I really love, and so every time I come across a new book of his, or as in new to me, because he's not writing as much anymore, but every time I come across a book of his at a used bookstore, I pick it up. So I just finished his novella Enchanted Night, which I liked, but not as much as his other stuff. And so now I'm reading From the Realm of Morpheus, a novel of his, which I'm enjoying. And then for watching, I don't know if you've started this yet, but Big Mood Season 2 is out. So I've been watching that, like, kind of slowly.
I'm scared.
I know you're scared. It's still really funny and goofy, despite also hitting hard on mental health stuff and, like, female friendship. And for those not listening, this is a comedy starring Nicola Coughlan? Coughlan? Is that how you pronounce her last name? Coughlan? Yeah. And Lydia West, about two friends who live in London, and they've known each other forever. And Nicola's character has bipolar, and so it's also about the big mood is partly her big moods and how she's handling them or not. So season 2 is out. I'm enjoying it, though there was something so, not like hard hitting, but there was something so unbelievably cringe that happened that I had to turn off this TV, which does indeed happen quite a bit with this show. So I haven't gone back to it since that happened somewhere in like episode 4, but I'm going to go back to it. I am still enjoying it, though. I'm so excited it got a season 2.
Yeah, I have this issue where, like, I'll start a show not knowing necessarily how big it's gonna hit me and appreciate how big it does hit me. But then the next season, I'm, like, afraid to, because I'm, like, I know that I'm gonna have some big feelings, and I don't know that it feels right to have those big feelings yet. But, yeah, what else? We've been watching a lot of Naruto. Still, we're getting close to the end. We're on like episode late 300s, so about 200 more episodes.
When you say the end, do you mean original Naruto or Naruto Shippuden? What is it?
Yeah, Shippuden.
Okay.
We finished the original series a while ago, and then we're on and off with Shippuden. Rob is really insistent on watching the filler, and I'm really insistent on not watching the filler because, like, we have 500 episodes to get through. Like, I guess not 500 if we're skipping the filler.
I don't know, Emmi. You're kind of sounding like a fake fan.
I know. I've never watched all the filler. I really haven't. And, but I've watched some of it. I've watched, like, I look up, like, what are the good filler episodes. Rob just wants to see Rock Lee as much as possible. Which he just doesn't, he's just not that centered in the sort of ending arc. But also, that final arc of Naruto Shippuden, the, like, Great Ninja War arc, the pacing is so weird and sluggish, and it's, like, so long, and there's so many flashbacks, that I'm like, we can't do the filler too. Because it'll just, it's too much. Not to say anything bad about Naruto, but there it is.
Once you're done, do you think you'll move on to Boruto?
Probably not. We might, but I've watched some of Boruto. I don't really care about Boruto. Also, like, the guy that draws girls and women in kind of a weird way that I don't enjoy. Although the anime adaptation is, like, it's really interesting because, yeah, the manga's like, oh, it really sexualized this 11-year-old, but then in the manga, or in the anime, it's like, Orochimaru is gender fluid, and Choji and What's-Her-Face's daughter is coming to terms with, like, her weight.
Oh. Contains multitudes.
It's, like, very woke. So it's, like, a really weird comparison.
Got it. Okay. That's all I have for you today, for now. I gotta go finish my Ribbit for today.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go play it, too.
So, I guess we will see you guys next time, or rather, you'll hear us next time.
Yes, we'll see you. We'll be in your house watching you while you listen to us.
We'll be in your house watching you game. Don't you worry.
Be ready
you will
for
not
it.
See
and
us.
We're gonna do a report. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Anyway, bye for now.